What is up? Welcome. Happy Monday to all of you. It is Monday. And you know what that means? Chiefs are playing on Monday Night Football tonight, baby. Hell yeah. Monday Night Football. Here we go. Chiefs and Saints. You know, I said this when the schedule came out. I thought the primetime schedule was so weird for Kansas City. You have it's really, you have a lot of nationally televised games, but as far as like the prime time, the night games go, it's really not that enticing. You had the opening kickoff game against Baltimore. Obviously, it makes sense. You know, that's an AFC championship rematch. But then you have Atlanta on Sunday night, the Saints on Monday night, and then you come back home in a couple of weeks for another Monday night game against the Bucks. It's like, what is with the Chiefs playing NFC South teams on primetime? Like, I don't want to play the Falcons or the Saints. The Bucks, if Tom Brady was there, yeah, that'd be much more enticing. But it's like, the Falcons game, yeah, sure, came down to the wire controversially. We'll see what happens with this game tonight, but it's like, man, I don't want to play any of these teams on primetime. So I thought that was just kind of weird when the schedule came out. But I did say at the time, we'll all still be excited the week of and the day of the games, the primetime games, because at the end of the day, you're playing on primetime, and that's always exciting. So not really my favorite set of primetime games this year, but that's just what we were given, and that's what we're going to roll with. So another NFC South team on Monday Night Football. This time it's going to be at Arrowhead Stadium. You know, it's really weird. The next two home games for the Chiefs are both Monday Night Football games. You have the Saints, then you're going to be away from Arrowhead for a few weeks. You're going to have the bye week. You're going to go to San Francisco. You're going to go to Vegas, and then you're going to come back for back-to-back home games against the Bucks and against the Broncos. That Broncos game is going to be the first 12 o'clock kickoff game of the season, which is hard to believe. That in mid-November. I remember we used to pray for times like this where we would have more primetime games and less noon games. And then now it feels like we have way too many non-noon games, and I've seen complaints about that. So hey, it is what it is. That's just the way things work sometimes. All right, let's get into tonight's game here. There was some news that broke about an hour ago from Matt Derrick of Chiefs Digest. He was the first one to bring this up here. So he tweeted that there are no roster moves or practice squad elevations. The Chiefs had an opportunity to do that today until, I believe, 3 o'clock Central Time. Then you got to wait a little bit because the official word does not come out right away. It has to be filed to the NFL by 3 o'clock. I believe 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock. I don't remember the exact time. But the Chiefs did not have a practice squad elevation for tonight's game, which I thought was very interesting considering Rashee Rice is on IR. So there are 5 wide receivers are Xavier Worthy, Justin Watson, Juju Smith-Schuster, McCole Hardman, and Sky Moore. Those are your 5 wide receivers. You have 4 tight ends that you're going to be working with in this one. Obviously, Travis Kelce, Noah Gray, Jared Wiley, the rookie, and Jody Fortson, who just made his comeback to the Kansas City Chiefs not too long ago. So that right there is who Patrick Mahomes is going to have to pass to. And obviously, out of the backfield, you'll have Kareem Hunt. You'll have Carson Steele and Samaje Perine. So those are the skill position players Patrick Mahomes has to play with. And I'll say this right now, in all of my years of doing this podcast, Chiefs content altogether, I don't think I've ever paid very close attention to all of the available skill position players at running back, fullback, wide receiver, and tight end. Never paid that close attention to it before. I'm not saying this to suggest you guys should be concerned or scared, but I'm also not going to sit here and say that is particularly a good thing here, because you're very thin right now. And listen, it's not anyone's fault. It's just, injuries happen, especially the timing of the last one, the way it happened. It just flat out sucks. Friendly fire collision there. But those are the wide receivers you have: Worthy, Watson, Juju Smith-Schuster, McCole Hardman, and Sky Moore. Those are the wide receivers for the Kansas City Chiefs in this game. And listen, let me just say this. You can still win football games with that crew of wide receivers. Let's remember last year's wide receivers. Who'd you have? You had Marquez Valdez-Scantling. Well, he didn't do very well. He had a couple of moments in the postseason. You had Kadarius Toney. They essentially deactivated him for the rest of the year after with 2 or 3 weeks left in the season, regular season, that is. Sky Moore, I mean, what did he even do last year? I can't think of one big moment Sky Moore had outside of Jacksonville where he had a big catch to help put away the Jaguars in week 2. That's really all I can think of in terms of Sky Moore's contributions last year. McCole Hardman, okay, yeah, he had the walk-off touchdown in the end and he had another big catch in the Super Bowl, but he also, again, wasn't really a big difference maker, especially in that Bills game, fumbling twice at the 1-yard line. So, again, I'm just talking overall body of work here with all these players. Justin Watson was probably your most productive player until the second half of the season when Rashee Rice started to pick things up and took off those rookie training wheels. And obviously you saw that big jump he had from year 1 to year 2 in these 3 games. I'm obviously not including last game because he got hurt on the 5th offensive snap of the game for the Chiefs. But you have a lot of unknowns on this wide receiver room right now. But I will say this. If you go look at last week's game against the Chiefs, and you've seen it a few times, and this is kind of going back to Patrick Mahomes and the slow start he's had to the season so far. Patrick Mahomes missed a couple of open players deep down the field last week in the second half. He had Xavier Worthy wide open in the end zone for a touchdown in the second half, and also in the same half, Justin Watson was open deep down the field. If Mahomes gets the ball to Watson on that play, Watson probably walks it in for a touchdown. Now, and I should be clear, by the way, when I say he missed those players, he didn't even get the ball to them. He didn't even see them deep down the field. If he saw those players wide open, man, he's hitting touchdowns right there. And the Chiefs can kind of find themselves in a spot where they don't have to put pressure on their defense and they can live with a bit of a comfortable lead. Not to say that the defense should let off the pedal or anything like that, but you want that comfort. That comfort would be appreciated, I think. We can all agree on that. So I'm hoping that Patrick Mahomes can do a better job of do a better job with his vision. Because if Patrick, and I know the offensive tackles have not been very good. We've had bad offensive tackle play for 3 years now. If Patrick Mahomes can at least improve his vision deep down the field, and again, I understand easier said than done when you've got offensive tackles who aren't blocking for you, and you got these big defensive linemen and linebackers trying to kill you. It can be easier said than done. But you've got to make that happen. You can't be missing those open players deep down the field, especially when they're in the end zone or they're going to have just a free walk to the end zone, essentially. That's what Patrick Mahomes needs to be better about. And if he can improve on his vision, I think you're going to see a big difference with the offense. I think the narrative is going to change a lot with Kansas City's offense. So that is my big request from this Chiefs offense. The vision with Mahomes. I know you might say, well, Farzine, if the offensive tackles play better, that might be a difference maker, and that might allow Patrick Mahomes to improve his vision. Perhaps. But I'm not expecting really any big difference from the offensive tackles. I mean, Wanye Morris, sure, he had a good game last week going up against a backup. And I'm not knocking on him for that. The guy has not done a whole lot for the Chiefs since being drafted. He's only played a few games. He's only started a few games. So he's got to start at some point. Kingsley Suamataia, he's obviously struggled, and the Chiefs have benched him, but they've had him in for a few snaps here and there ever since they had Wanye Morris at left tackle. So I just think at the end of the day, it is up to Mahomes to be able to make that improvement. And listen, he's done it before. This is not his first year playing with 2 bad offensive tackles. If you remember 2 years ago, the Chiefs had Orlando Brown and Andrew Wiley, and they were both 1 and 2 in the NFL in pressures allowed. Last year, Donovan Smith was kind of neck and neck with Orlando Brown, who obviously had his first season with the Bengals. Brown led the NFL in pressures allowed, but Donovan Smith was not too far behind him in terms of pressures allowed up until his injury, obviously sidelining him. So despite all of that, Mahomes still was getting the ball to guys last season. The unfortunate part was there were a lot of drops. We haven't seen drops really hurt the team this year. The first game, you had 3 of them. Didn't hurt the Chiefs too much. It could have. If you don't drop the football, And Chiefs probably have a bigger lead in that game to finish with against the Ravens. So my biggest thing with Mahomes, just improve that vision, because if you do, and if you can spot those open guys deep down the field, you're going to be hitting some touchdowns, and obviously that's more yards for the offense, and it really just a whole new narrative for the offense in general. Really is going to be a whole new offense. What kind of a game am I expecting? I'm going 23-20, and I would love to know your guys' score predictions. So please comment below with your score predictions here. But I am predicting a 23-20 narrow win. So another narrow win for the Chiefs. I'm sure there'll be some controversy with the officials on this one here. So place your bets on that. But I think we're going to see a heavy set of running from the Chiefs in this one. I think Kareem Hunt, who, obviously had the shoulder injury he was dealing with this week. And I think that's more of him not being in football shape because he's been away. He never had OTAs, training camp, preseason. He didn't have any of that. Last week was his first football action in quite some time. Didn't hit pads or any of that for a while. So last week was Kareem Hunt's first game of the year. And now Kareem Hunt's at a position now where he's coming back to Arrowhead. This is going to be his first game in Arrowhead as a member of the Chiefs. Now, he's come back a couple of times, once in the playoffs with the Browns, and then the following year when the Chiefs and Browns played in week 1. But this is his first game back inside Arrowhead Stadium as a member of the Chiefs since 2018, which is still hard to believe, that narrative, the fact that he's back here in Kansas City. So I think there's going to be a heavy dose of Kareem Hunt here. I think Kareem Hunt's going to get a lot of carries in this one. I think they're going to get Samaje Perine involved. I think they'll try to get Carson Steele involved a little bit as well. May not rely on him too much because they want to gradually let him back into the fold. Obviously, if you give him just a few snaps, odds of him fumbling are probably much lower at that point. So hopefully the Chiefs can figure out a game plan to get him involved without him making a crucial error, because I still think they need Carson Steele. And I think, you got to give him an opportunity. He's a rookie, and I think he'll get it together. The Chiefs certainly have a lot of confidence in him. Andy Reid really gave a big endorsement to Carson Steele even last week, coming off that game with the fumble. He's had 2 of those this year now. So I'm hoping the Chiefs can come out strong and get that running game involved. I think that running game is going to be a big part. So if I was a betting man, and don't take my advice for it, but I'll do this on DraftKings in just a moment here, I'd probably pick a lot of unders for a lot of the pass catchers, but I probably would pick whatever the over is for Kareem Hunt in this one. Now, I will say this. I would be actually, let's look at this together. Let's go to DraftKings, because I am very curious to know what the over under is for Travis Kelce. Because last week he had 89 receiving yards. Travis Kelce, obviously, really a much different game last week against the Chargers compared to any other game he's played so far this season here. All right, let's go to the receiving props. And let's go to the over-unders here. Travis Kelce. Oh, that's receptions. Receiving yards. There we go. Chris Olave's at 59.5. Travis Kelce's at 58.5. I'll take the over on that one. I will take the over on that one. I think Travis Kelce will definitely surpass 58 receiving yards. What about rushing yards? Where is Kareem Hunt's over-under on that? 47. Oh, I'm definitely taking the over on that one. That is severely low in my Alvin Kamara at 66.5. I mean, listen, I know the Chiefs have played very well against running backs this year. I still think that's a little low, but I think the Kareem Hunt one's, that one's low. 47.5. I would take that one. Even if they put it at 57.5, I'd still take it. I think 57.5 would be one I would maybe have to really think about, but 47.5, no. I'll take Kareem Hunt over on that one there. All right. I'm going to read your guys' comments now. Remigio and Ross elevated? I did not see that. Yeah, Hardman is questionable. Let me just... listen, I trust Matt Derrick here, but yeah, I don't see anything about Remigio or Justin Ross elevated. So yeah, those are the Chiefs' five wide receivers according to Matt Derrick. Yeah, I'm kind of wondering if Juju Smith-Schuster comes through for the Chiefs, because this is a guy who started a lot of games in the NFL. In New England, obviously not the best experience there, but in Kansas City, and obviously spent a significant amount of time in Pittsburgh there. So he's got a lot of starting experience under his belt. I think that if you're top two wide receivers, you want to pick top two wide receivers, I think it's going to be Xavier Worthy and Juju Smith-Schuster. And hopefully the injury bug is done running around, because it's already taken two really good receivers from the Chiefs. Trade Sky Moore, Renee says, what are you getting in return? I mean, if you're another team, would you give up a 7th round pick for Sky Moore? Teams were not even willing to give up a draft pick for Kadarius Toney. And Kadarius Toney, as big of a liability as he may be, he has more upside than Sky Moore. Yet, no one traded for Kadarius Toney. So I don't know who's trading for Sky Moore. I don't think any general manager is calling Brett Veach looking to get Sky Moore. And if Brett Veach is calling other teams for Sky Moore, which I doubt he really is, I mean, it would have to be a big package deal for them to even want to accept someone like Sky Moore. Yes, Kareem Hunt's going to be starting today. That was put out today by Matt Derrick, who, again, I trust pretty well. So glad the game is tonight. Hurricane warning my area. May not have power in the coming days to watch. Oh, well, hey, for those of you who are in that area in Florida and any other place that's going to be impacted, stay safe out there. Yeah, that's unfortunate. Man, that's just, I never like hearing about those things. So hopefully you all stay safe. Hopefully your homes, all that stuff. Hopefully you don't suffer a lot of damage there. Not bringing up other receivers and sticking with Sky really pisses me off. I hope I eat crow, but I'm worried. Yeah, I mean, listen, I don't think you should be too worried here, because I think the Chiefs are going to go run heavy in today's game. Not to say they won't pass. Of course they will. But it is, I can see where you're coming from, Brock, where it's like, really? You're not going to elevate anyone? Because that is a little interesting from the Chiefs side of things. Mahomes could have thrown to Kelsey a few times. He's been open. He's actually been one of the more open pass catchers in the NFL. Patrick Mahomes, again, this kind of goes back to what I say about Patrick Mahomes. But Mahomes has struggled this year hitting the open receivers, and I don't know why. Kelsey's been open many times. Xavier Worthy, he had a couple of open looks. Justin Watson as well. And Mahomes has been missing those guys. You can't be doing that in the NFL, especially when you're a quarterback as great as Patrick Mahomes. I'm sure he'll get going at some point. Unfortunately, it hasn't hurt the Chiefs yet, but you can't be letting those guys just free down the field and not doing anything with them. You just can't do that. Delano says 27-20. Dan says 27-24 Saints. Efrain says 42-20 defense scores. Okay, I'll take a defensive score. Second time this season. Nice. You're going to the game. That's awesome, Teresa. Cheer loud. 21-17. No, Clyde Edwards-Helaire is not back. I hope so. I was thinking about this today. I thought he was going to get it a couple of weeks ago against the Bengals. At some point he's got to pick it up. Do you think Matt Nagy is part of the problem with the Chiefs offense? Man, a lot of people are asking this, and I don't know. I've thought about this a lot. I do think you're seeing the Chiefs less aggressive on offense with Matt Nagy. I certainly don't. Look, when Tyreek Hill got traded, he had a podcast that he started up, and he actually talked about his time in Kansas City a lot, because there was nothing else for him to talk about at the time. And I don't know if you guys remember that Sunday night football game, the one where there was a weather delay at halftime. And so it ended up being a really late Sunday night game. And the Buffalo Bills just trounced the Chiefs in that one. Tyreek Hill had a ball go off his hands for a pick six. Dan Sorensen missed several tackles in that one. And Tyreek Hill shared a story on his podcast that after that game, that week in practice, Eric Bieniemy just lashed out at his players during drills and practice, just constantly kept reminding them of that loss against the Bills and saying, you let them do that to you on your own home field. Like, that's the kind of coach Eric Bieniemy was. Eric Bieniemy, I mean, that guy's a yeller. If he wasn't happy about something, he would let you know about it. Hence, Sean McCoy constantly complaining about how he didn't like Eric Bieniemy, because I'm sure Eric Bieniemy yelled at him for something he didn't like. I mean, boo-hoo, a football player does not like that he got yelled at. Whereas Matt Nagy is not necessarily like that. And I know Matt Nagy has a very good relationship with Patrick Mahomes. Now, I don't care who has a great relationship with the franchise quarterback. What I care about is, are you an offensive assistant who can help this team here? Matt Nagy, and here's the other thing too. I am a firm believer that Andy Reid is the play caller. I think he's always been the play caller. I think the last time he ever handed off play calling duties was in 2017 when he let Matt Nagy take over, and the Chiefs finished the season with 4 straight wins, including Mahomes' debut. The most recent time before that where Reid, as far as we knew, handed off play calling duties was for Doug Peterson, and the Chiefs won 10, 11 games in a row and snapped that postseason drought. Here's why I'm saying all of this. Whenever things are working on offense, everyone praises Mahomes, Kelsey, and Andy Reid, and whoever else needs to be added to that list of praise there. But when things are not working, I see Chiefs fans online blaming Eric Bieniemy at the time he was the offensive coordinator. And now that he's gone, again, when things are not working, Chiefs fans go and blame Matt Nagy. I don't get it here. When things are not working, you cannot just praise Andy Reid, and then when things are not working, blame Matt Nagy. Again, I'm a firm believer that Andy Reid's been the play caller here. I still think at the end of the day, because the way the play calling works in Kansas City with the offense, Andy Reid's the play caller, but whoever's the offensive coordinator, I think they're more of an enforcer, where they try to make sure the players are in line with what's being asked for them to do. And again, look, could I be wrong about the whole play calling thing? Perhaps here, because if you watch these games, whenever the offense is on the field, the Chiefs offense, that is, they'll show the offensive coordinator and the opposing team's defensive coordinator, which makes sense because those are the units on the field. And you'll see either Eric Bieniemy or Matt Nagy, whoever the OC is, they'll do this whole thing where they're covering their mouth with the play sheet, and they have something to say. I mean, obviously they're not just chit-chatting; they're calling a play. I would imagine. But then again, we're always told Andy Reid. So do they change play callers from game to game or even during the game? I don't even know. And again, that's a question I've been getting a lot of. It's like, is Matt Nagy the problem, or is he part of the problem? Is there a big difference between him and Bieniemy? Like, I'm seeing this discussion out there a lot by a lot of people, and I'm not sure where to even go with that, because I don't know what's being called and by who's calling it. That's the one thing I kind of struggle with, because I don't really know how that operation works. Specifically behind closed doors. Listen, I know Jason Kelsey was trying to get it out of his brother a couple of years ago on the podcast, and he's like, Andy Reid calls the plays, right? And Travis like, I don't know. Well, obviously, listen, there's no way Travis Kelsey does not know who's calling the plays. That dude is like one of the best players in the NFL. Of course he knows who's calling the plays. He doesn't want to give those kinds of information out publicly, and rightfully so. But I think Jason was just trying to, do Chiefs fans a favor, because a lot of Chiefs fans were asking questions and looking for answers. But Travis Kelsey did add something to where he came out for a play, and Bieniemy went up to him and was like, dude, you should be in there. This is your play, but they took you out. So it's like, that was kind of an interesting little nugget that Kelsey dropped there. So I don't really know how the whole operation works with Andy Reid and whoever the offensive coordinator is. And we may never know. Yeah, this is very important for tonight's game. If you guys watch my my reel this morning, when I mentioned the 3 keys for the Chiefs to win, my third key was for the Chiefs to blitz Derek Carr, because Derek Carr has not been blitzed very much this season. Only 13 times on the season, Derek Carr has been blitzed in 4 games. Now, a lot of these games have been one-sided, and the victories for the Saints this year have been one-sided. And the 2 games they've lost, which is their last 2 weeks, they've been very close. And defenses in general just haven't really blitzed much against Derek Carr. And I think that has to change today. You know it's going to change today. Spags is 100% going to run that up here. And that's something Derek Carr is not used to. I'm sure they've practiced that a lot for the Saints this week. But practicing it and having it going through it in the game going to be 2 different things here. And that's not something Derek Carr is going to be ready for. I think the last time Derek Carr was with the Raiders and played the Chiefs, you didn't really see a lot of that Spags blitzing. By the way, speaking of the last time Derek Carr was with the Raiders and played against the Chiefs, I think it was that infamous Monday night game where the Chiefs were down 17-0. Chris Jones got called for a roughing the passer penalty when Carr was not even the passer. He already lost the football, which is very interesting by rule. And then Devontae Adams shoved the cameraman. Now, I think that's the last time Derek Carr played in Arrowhead Stadium. The enemy's at UCLA, which, look, I'm not a big college football guy, but I did look up UCLA's stats, and they're not doing too hot, unfortunately. Which sucks for Bieniemy, because it's like that dude has to now prove himself away from Mahomes and Andy Reid and Kelsey, and he has to use like the shittiest players possible. It's like, dude, come on. I mean, look, they gave Josh McDaniels multiple jobs. They gave the Broncos job to him. The Colts did verbally agree to hire him. You guys all know how that went. And then the Raiders hired Josh McDaniels. I mean, if you can hire Josh freaking McDaniels, you can hire Eric Bieniemy in the NFL. Come on. Like, it just doesn't make sense. Yeah, but here's the thing, Corey, and I know you're right. You put it very blunt, and I appreciate that. I don't have an issue with the way you worded all of that. Here's my thing. I'm not going to judge an offensive coordinator based off how they did as a head coach. When you're a head coach, you have a lot of responsibilities. Now, how does that impact play calling directly? Look, I don't know. I'm not the guy with the headset going through all of those things during the game. And I think that can really be a lot for a head coach in one game. I'll judge you off how you are as an offensive coordinator. Like if Matt Nagy was coming to be the head coach of the Chiefs, I'd be like, yeah, I'm screwed. I'm concerned. The Chiefs are fucked. But if Matt Nagy's your offensive coordinator, yeah, I can welcome that, because Matt Nagy was a good offensive coordinator for the Chiefs before he left in 2017 and 2016. I'm not going to judge Nagy based off Chicago, because 1, he was the head coach. 2, Chicago's front office never does their franchise any favors. They always just give their quarterbacks the worst possible QBs. I mean, for crying out loud, Nagy went to the playoffs with Mitchell Trubisky. How many coaches have been able to do that in the NFL? I mean, I don't know who replaced Nagy in Chicago, but I don't think they were able to get to the playoffs with Mitchell Trubisky. And if I'm not mistaken, Trubisky was a Pro Bowler that year too. Not that the Pro Bowl means a whole lot today with the way the voting is and all, but still, like, people recognize Trubisky enough to believe that he was good enough to be one of the 6 quarterbacks to be in the Pro Bowl. I really liked Nagy before he left. Loved Bieniemy and hated he left. Each guy great. Yeah, and the Bieniemy thing, it's just, he wants to be a head coach, and he should go out there and spread his wings and widen his horizons and all, but it's just, he has to prove himself away from all the success here, which I just don't think is fair. Like, it's not his fault. He's surrounded by great players. What, you want him to prove it with Sam freaking Howell? I don't know, man. Tonight's not the night to go into that, but I've already got into that. Dave says, why is Sky Moore still on the 53? I mean, why do hurricanes exist? Why do bad things happen in life? That's my response to you, Dave. I'm answering your question by asking questions about life. Yeah, listen, you guys know me. I can be patient with players. I don't know what the hell the point of having Sky Moore is. I would take Kadarius. I thought they would have kept Kadarius Toney over Sky Moore, honestly. I mean, in all seriousness, like, I would have picked Kadarius Toney over Sky Moore, but I still thought they would have had Nico Remigio or Justin Ross over those two guys. I don't know. I can't. That's a topic for another time. Do I think 15 Fields extra pressure to three-peat? You know what's interesting about this whole three-peat thing? When the Chiefs are getting ready for Super Bowl 55, which I know is not the most exciting of subjects in Kansas City, Frank Clark was asked what it would mean to win another Super Bowl, and his response was, that means we got to do it a third time. So the three-peat mentality was already there. When the Chiefs won Super Bowl 58, and obviously McCall Hardman caught the pass, and everyone's going crazy. Everyone's hugging and kissing everyone. Confetti's falling on everybody's heads. And Tracy Wolfson finally finds Patrick Mahomes and talks to him and says, what does this mean? And immediately Mahomes goes, yeah, we got a three-peat now. Like, he doesn't even take 2 whole minutes to celebrate the moment. He's already thinking about the next championship to want a three-peat, because it's never been done before in the NFL. That's happened in other sports, but not in the NFL. Do I feel he has extra pressure to three-peat? I think he puts that pressure on himself. I think Matt Nagy kind of said this, was it this week or last week, that Mahomes does put a healthy amount of pressure on himself. I don't know if I agree with a healthy amount. I actually think it's an unhealthy amount. I think the problem is Mahomes wants every single play to be an A-plus play. Like, everything has to go right. Sometimes things just don't go your way, man. I mean, look at the Ravens Bengals game. Both Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow played great in that game, but they also had a couple of mishaps in that game, and you can't really beat yourself up over it. You just have to take an L on that play and move on to the next. That's all you can do. Like, look at the interception Mahomes threw. He was so pissed off about it that he was going out there trying to tackle the guy. They don't want Mahomes to even run a quarterback sneak, but Mahomes going out there with head first, trying to tackle that ball carrier. And thank goodness he wasn't there, because I think that would have led to not a suspension, but a fine for Patrick Mahomes leaning in with the helmet. You can't be doing that. And unfortunately, it led to a friendly fire there with Rashee Rice. So I just think, just relax. You'll throw interceptions. You'll fumble the ball. But if if it's not happening frequently, then great. Not every single play can be a completion for big yardage. It just doesn't work sometimes. Take what defenses give you, make good decisions. And I mentioned earlier, improve on your vision, and you're going to win a lot of football games. That's what this team's done for a long time. So I think Mahomes, I don't think he feels extra pressure, to answer your question. I think he puts that on himself. So just relax a little bit, and you'll get the good outcome more times than not. Connor's a good one, and for some sneaky blitzing, that is true. Why is Hicks not playing? I don't have an answer for you on that. I think they really like what they have with Justin Reed and Brian Cook. I know Justin Reed had a little bit of a slow start to the season, but has played better lately. I think he's an underrated and an underappreciated player. I think they'll get Hicks more involved, as, keep in mind, he's a rookie and a rookie that was drafted late. So, there's a reason why he was drafted late. But I think, once you get more experience, play more, you'll gradually get more snaps. This is going to be the first time Matthew will go up against Mahomes since leaving Kansas City. That is Royals got homered by refs in game 1. Yeah, that I thought Kansas City got all the calls, y'all. Did Taylor Swift, by the way, did she send over that Venmo yet? Last Friday, Nagy's son, QB for Blue Valley West. I went there. For 285 yards and 4 touchdowns while completing 78.3% of his passes, and also rushing for 55 yards. Blue Valley West served up the first loss to rival Blue Valley Northwest. Tate has committed to KU. Well, hallelujah. We need someone at KU, because, listen, I appreciate JD6 and what he did. it's time to move on from JD6. So, yeah, I mean, I'm not expecting them to use Tate right away, but hopefully soon, because KU needs help. Maybe they can get their basketball players to play quarterback or something for the rest of the year. They still see potential in Sky Moore. If he doesn't step up soon, he will be a wash. Yeah, I mean, no, you're right, Scott. They definitely like him. My question is why? Because I think he's had plenty of chances. Let me put it to you guys like this: Sky Moore was a second round pick, right? The Chiefs actually traded down, looking to get someone else later. They maybe thought that Pickens would have been available, but instead they ended up with Sky Moore, second round pick. You know who else was a second round pick? Rashee Rice. And I know Rashee Rice is not playing right now because of an injury, but Rice, also a second round pick 1 year after Sky Moore. Rice got a better grasp of the offense more than Sky Moore. So it's like, okay, you're both drafted kind of almost in the same place, just 1 year apart. But the guy that was drafted after you, he's just gotten more opportunities because he's way better than you. I think that right there is like a dead giveaway to me. It's like, just take an L on that one and move on with who you have. I mean, right now you kind of need Sky Moore because you don't have much. But I mean, listen, I would take a 39-year-old Julio Jones or whatever age he is, or Michael Thomas over Sky Moore. But that's just me. What a Monday night. Royals, Yankees, Chiefs, Saints. Gunther versus Sammy for the belt. Oh, yeah. Man, I have not watched Raw in quite some time. I did watch Bad Blood. Bad Blood was awesome. That CM Punk match, Hell in a Cell, was great. That was cool. That was like a really good. WWE's been like really good the past year and a half. That's kind of what I started following, was that Raw 30. And then I saw the Bloodline, and I was just really intrigued by that. So I just kept following it into the Royal Rumble and beyond. So yeah, it's been kind of fun to follow pro wrestling again. I can't believe the refs made the kicker miss that field goal for the Bengals. No, the refs did not do that. The refs made the holder fumble the ball. Or no, I mean, he didn't fumble. He mishandled it. You know what I mean? That's what the refs said. With the wide receivers KCA has active, I hope they let Worthy expand his role and just let Watson and Juju tag team the Rice role. Hopefully. That's kind of what I'm thinking. Those are your three main wide receivers. And I think Juju more over Watson, but I know the Chiefs like Watson a lot. I think Watson's a good depth player. I don't know if I would want Watson as one of my two starters, but I don't really know what other choices you have right now. Because Xavier Worthy is now doing the things they needed from Hollywood Brown, and Watson's probably going to be doing the things that they had planned for Rice this year. Nice. That's awesome. I was 2009, which is hard to believe. It's been quite some time, but yeah, 09. It's crazy because when I was a student there, and you know, when your daughter was there as well, that was like one of the newer high schools because it opened in 2001. Actually, do you guys want to hear a funny story about Blue Valley West High School? This is, swear to God, this is 100% the truth. So Blue Valley West opened in 2001. And if you guys remember, 2001, well, before 2001, so in 2099, that's when Pokemon became relevant in the United States. So, and I don't know what year it was because I was not a student in the Blue Valley School District at the time, but, and this is a real story. In fact, the principal at the time, he actually has a sample headline of this from the Kansas City Star. It's actually pretty funny. So when the students were voting on school colors and the mascot, I actually got to do this for one of the Blue Valley middle schools because the middle school I went to was a brand new middle school. So in fifth grade, we actually got to vote on school colors and mascot. So when people were voting for the school colors and the mascot, Jaguars ended up being the mascot for Blue Valley West, but in a very close second place was Pokemon, because at the time, Pokemon was like the hottest thing ever. Everyone had the Game Boy, the cards. Everyone was watching the TV show. So Blue Valley West's mascot was very close to becoming Pokemon. And my principal at the time, he actually used to be a referee in the Big 12. He has a sample headline. I wish I got a picture of it. I can, if I do some digging and asking, I might be able to find it. But he has a sample headline that says, Pokemon's defeat Tigers. Tigers are the rival for Blue Valley West. So a lot of people don't know that, but that is 100% a true story. I didn't watch WCW much. I never really got into it. The only familiarity I had with it was when they did the whole WWF versus WCW. So more important win tonight, Royals or Chiefs? Be cool if both win. I mean, I would say the Royals. The Chiefs losing today would not be bad because it's an NFC team and you would still be first place in the conference. The Royals are, I mean, if they lose today, they face elimination next game and they have the pressure to win out or they're done for the season. So I'd say the Royals would probably need to win. Obviously both. Hopefully both of them win. Yeah, the Triple H era. It's phenomenal. Exquisite. How about get rid of the rest and just let them play? Yeah, I think some people want. Yes. So I don't know where. I think it's this side. If you see somewhere like a red box that says live, that means I'm actually live. Some of you guys comment, and you're like, why are you not answering my question? But then I'll see the comment later, and I'm like, you guys are commenting on the archived version of this video. So if you don't see the word live anywhere on top, that means you're listening to the archived version of this live stream. I appreciate everyone who's listening and watching, live or not, but if I don't respond to you, that's probably why, because we're not live. We are right now, just to be clear, which is confusing for anyone that's watching later, but I'll stop right there. Yeah, Demarcus Robinson, Byron Pringle, those are names that I've heard out there. I don't know though. Listen, the Chiefs don't have a lot of options. Yes, that was his name, John Laurie. Thank you, I forgot. Pokemon would have been awful. Pokemon cards are worth some of the biggest money nowadays. You know what's crazy is I still remember in third grade when Pokemon was big and everything, people were bringing the cards to school and playing, against other students, and people were wagering money in Pokemon card battles, which obviously is very illegal on school grounds. And I still remember to this day, they gave every student a sheet that we had to take home to our parents and say, my student, and our parents had to write our name, will not bring Pokemon cards. And if they do bring Pokemon cards, they'll be in the possession of the teachers, given to the principal, and our parents would have to come get those cards. Yeah, they were working really hard to ban Pokemon cards from school. I don't know if any other schools dealt with that kind of thing, but my school did. Yeah. He's available. Richie James is out there, Robert. I mentioned that before. My whole thing is if the Chiefs were going to do something, it needed to be done by now, because one, they can kind of sit back and not play the Saints game and just kind of observe from the sidelines. But then it's like, you have the bye week next week, and that would have been a good opportunity for whoever the newcomer is to kind of get up to speed with the offense and the playbook. And the Chiefs have not made any moves. And let me just say this too. I know last year was different than this year in terms of wide receiver issues. This year you have injury issues. Last year you had drop issues, and it just seemed like you could have had help from some other wide receiver and hopefully get better outcomes and not suffer so many drops. But the Chiefs never went to anyone else last year. I mean, yeah, they went and got McCole Hardman, but he was a guy who knew the offense already. McCole Hardman, again, he finished off the season with a walk-off touchdown in the Super Bowl. But overall body of work, did McCole Hardman make a big difference? I mean, he contributed to the drops and fumbles last year. The Chiefs did not go out there to try to trade for like a DeAndre Hopkins-esque type of player. They stuck with who they had. And that's probably what's going to be the case this year. Again, I know the injuries is far more different than drops, but with the salary cap right now, they don't have a lot of options. I don't think, here's my prediction. Unless they restructure some deals, which Juwan Taylor would have to be a big one, maybe Mahomes and maybe Joe Tooney, I don't think the Chiefs are doing anything as far as trading for a wide receiver. I don't think it's possible. Yeah, Robinson is kind of needed for the Rams because they're without Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp. So I don't know. I'm not expecting them to do much here. This is one of the more longer pregame live chats we've had this year. Non-live comments are hysterical. Yeah, I mean, I see some of them. It's hard to pay attention to it because I'm focused on the game, but sometimes I come across comments after the pregame live stream or any live stream for that matter. They're interesting. I'll leave it at that. Yeah, listen, if the Chiefs can go into the bye week 5-0, that's huge. That is really huge. And then, next game would be the 49ers on the road. And I know the 49ers don't look great this year. They're dealing with injuries this season, but so are the Chiefs. Losing that San Francisco game would not be the worst thing in the world. I'm not saying I want that, but listen, losses are going to come. The Chiefs are not going undefeated this year. They're just not. And if I am, remind me of this live stream. Everyone screen record this. But if you were to lose, if you can go into the bye week 5-0, and if you were to lose the 49ers game, I know people make a big deal about the bye week, but I think it's kind of over exaggerated. It's not the worst thing in the world. It's a non-conference loss. Look at the Bengals. First of all, the Bengals are last place in the AFC right now. That's comical. And a big reason why they're in last place compared to the other 1-4 teams is because their only win this year was against a non-con team. They beat the Panthers. All the other 4 losses were against AFC teams, something they also struggled with a lot of last year. Yeah, I mean, I know it's changed a lot over the years. I mean, they keep coming out with new games and new material. I mean, it's my principal is a hater. Okay. We actually changed principals halfway through my time in high school. I actually liked our second principal because he was actually very lenient and actually allowed people to have headphones with music. At the time we had iPods and CD players. Yeah, that's how young I am, guys. But a lot of the teachers did not like his policies, and that made a lot of teachers want to leave. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't know which principal you're referring to. I assume the one that was mentioned earlier, the Big 12 ref. I mean, listen, I don't like to talk about people if they're not able to defend themselves, but I'll leave it at that. My school most definitely dealt with that. Yeah. See, I would imagine a lot of schools had that issue. We weren't allowed pagers in school, but they struggled to ban cell phones. Listen, I would hate to be a student today, especially with like notifications coming to your phone with Chiefs news and everything, and me just like not knowing right away about any Chiefs news and having to wait like until class is over to look at my phone and see what Chiefs news comes up. And I would hate that. I can't, dude. I would imagine there are students literally distracted in class because they're reading like a notification from Bleacher Report or ESPN. I mean, we had iPhones in high school. They just started out at the time, but obviously iPhones were not as big back then compared to now. Lori says I was in school before Pokemon. No, good for you, Lori. I love how we're talking about Pokemon right before Monday Night Football. Who would have thought? Oh, look at Patrick Mahomes sporting that old KC baseball logo there. I love it. Yeah, what is going on with the Cleveland Browns? Deshaun Watson, Kevin Stefanski? I don't know. That's That was weak. I'm really concerned about what the Chiefs are going to look like, or what the Browns are going to look like. A lot of people thought they would have been a really good team. Dude, they would have been better off keeping Joe Flacco. Why have practice receivers if they aren't going to elevate them? I mean, that's a good question. I don't know why. I was kind of surprised by that. Being a Super Bowl contender, we got to develop talent. With that being said, Sky Moore has none. No one disagrees. I think we've already gone over that on this live stream quite a bit. Here in Texas, all schools banned phones in classrooms this year. Going well. Parents are the ones most against the policy. So, like, where do people have to have their phones? Like, it has to be in their backpack or in their locker, or I don't know. I mean, that just, I think, like, especially with emergencies and that stuff nowadays. I mean, listen, I don't have kids. I'm not even close to that point in my life right now. But if I was, I would want my kid to have his phone. Because here's my thing. Whoops. Let me turn that off. Oh, the kicker for the Saints. Wearing his Royals gear today. How cool is that? Drew Tranquil also came in with a Royals jersey also. That's pretty cool. Seeing the Saints show some love to the Royals. He's a local kid too, from Sedalia. Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh? I liked the Pokemon show. But I enjoyed the Yu-Gi-Oh card game way better than Pokemon. Yu-Gi-Oh was just like the story in Yu-Gi-Oh was more interesting. I went to a Comic-Con this year. I actually went to a couple this year. And there was one where they had like the old school Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh actors. And I met the actor for Seto Kaiba. Super nice guy. I don't remember his name, unfortunately. Eric something. And he was also like the voice of Squirtle and Charizard. I'm like, shit, that's awesome. And I asked him because I was like, so like the voices of the Pokemon, do they make you do it every episode? He's like, no, they bank them and then they just reuse them as many times as they want. I was always curious about that kind of thing. So I actually have the Blue Eyes White Dragon. I got him to sign it, which is pretty cool. Whose jersey looks like a Marcus Peter or a Dexter McCluster jersey? You see the 2, you can't see the other number. It is 29. It is a Kareem Hunt jersey. I got Kareem Hunt's jersey. He came back. No, I'm just lying to you guys. It's oh, whoops. Yeah, it's an Eric Berry jersey. I never thought I would need another. I didn't think I would ever sport this 29 jersey again, but here we are. I have no comment right there. Listen, I said I'm not here to talk about anyone that can't defend themselves. I'm sticking to that. No further comment. Burrow looks like he's going to off himself. What does that mean? Or start wearing lips. Okay, Charlie, what are you talking about? All right, we're starting to get a little off track here with the chat. If I'm laughing this much, my first phone had an antenna. Okay, if we're talking about this, we gotta. As much as I enjoy Pokemon talk, I don't know. I didn't think game day was the day to do this. Yeah, that's how I feel, Alonda. That's how I feel. It's illegal to ban phones. Lawsuits are being filed all over the country. Also petitions in court. Okay, good to know. Voltron. I've heard of that. Okay, while we're on the subject, what's two really good anime? If you guys like Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh, there was a really good one called Monster Rancher. I still have the PS1 game for that. That was really good. Oh, by the way, for those of you that have a PS5, and if you played if you ever played what's it called? Black Myth Wukong, which I'm on chapter 4 now. So apparently I'm halfway through the game. This right here is a great adaptation of Journey to the West, Monkey Magic. If you type Monkey Magic VO spelled VEOH, I think. The episodes are, it's only 13 episodes. Unfortunately, it got canceled after one season, but that was a damn good show. That was by the voice actor was Sam Vincent Kuth, and he was also in like Monster Rancher also. So that is a great adaptation of Journey to the West. If you guys enjoy Black Myth Wukong, go look that show up, Monkey Magic, the animated version. The other version from the 70s is good too. I've only seen a couple episodes of that too, though. ESPN, Orlovsky, and one gal picked the Saints, although there's the Chiefs. Okay, well. Hey, speaking of football cards, Charlie, I have right here. I just realized you guys can't hear me very well. Oh, whoop! I just dropped some shit there. I just recently, like, I've been going through like my football card collection, baseball cards, all that stuff. I have right here some like really old packs. 1990. I think this one's 92. This one's 91. Why is it blurry? Come on. There we go. I got those. What should I do with these? I mean, do you keep them sealed? Do you open them and risk it? I mean, Joe Montana's got to be in here somewhere. Joe Valerio, maybe. I've been like contemplating what the hell do I do with these? Yes, Eric Berry jersey. Rice targets a mid-November return. What? No. Hold on. I'm looking this up. I love how YouTube will send notifications of a reel I did from like yesterday. Like, come on. Let's be more timely on that. Hold on. How sure are you about the Rashi Rice November thing, Teresa? I mean, if that's really going to be his target return date, holy shit, the Chiefs dodged a massive bullet with that one. I think you can handle, being without him for a little bit of time there. Okay, I don't see anything on that. I just typed Rashi Rice November on Twitter, and I'm not saying. Unopened packs, open them. Open. Some of you guys are saying open them. Some of you guys are saying unopened. Keep them closed. Yeah, I didn't see anything about that, so I'm not sure. Okay. All right. We covered a lot of ground on this pregame live chat. This might be the longest pregame live chat we've done in a while, but I had fun. I hope you guys did as well. All right. I'm going to get out of here. Hey, appreciate all of you guys who joined me for this pregame live chat. Join me at halftime. We will do our halftime live stream, recapping the first half. Obviously, it'll be a very short halftime live stream, and then come back after the game. We will do the Chiefs Zone podcast live. It'll be a late Monday night, but it doesn't matter because we're going to be doing it anyway, just like we do every single post game. I'll have the link for you guys to call in. Video chat it up. We'll have some fun. We'll do some back and forth, all that good stuff, and recap the game. All right, I'm out of here, guys. Thank you so much for joining me again. I am out. Have fun if you're going to be at the game. If you're watching from home, watching both the Royals and the Chiefs, hey, let's have some fun. Let's get the doubleheader victory. Appreciate all you guys. I'm out. Talk to y'all later.